Old African tales told again.
Oh, Africa, your rivers run like strands of silver beams. They decorate your ancient breast with messages they weave. Like these patient rivers running deep to reach the ocean. Your stories swirl across my mind, gentle locomotion. Going back, going back. I'm getting closer, I can almost feel it as your words fill the air. One more story, another image. I close my eyes and I am there. Tell me again, tell me just how things used to be. I'm opening up my soul, so let your spirit free. Oh, Africa, your rivers run like strands of silver beams. They decorate your ancient breast with messages they weave. Like these patient rivers running deep to reach the ocean. Your stories swirl across my mind in gentle locomotion. Going back, going back. Oh, ah, oh, ah, ooh. Oh, ah, oh, ah, ooh. Oh, ah, oh, ah, ooh.
Why monkeys live where they do. The voice of Dahomey. Tell the truth now. Did you ever look a monkey over, watch him sit, or see him scratch his fuzzy head, or put his long fingers on another monkey's shoulder? And did you ever think for a moment, he acts a little like me? Well, I am Dahomey, and I am sure that I am not telling anything new when I say a monkey is not a man, and a man is not a monkey. But in the beginning, it was almost that way. And if you will open your ears, the voice of Dahomey will tell you why it is that the monkey is not a part of mankind. The story goes this way. When the whole world was getting its start, and when Mahu was busy creating the animals, how do you think she went about it? She used clay so that she could easily make all sorts of shapes and forms. But it was not all that easy. A world full of animals is a lot of work, no matter how you do it. It was not surprising, then, that she was not finishing the job on time. To help her with the work, she asked a few of the animals to give her a hand. And when you stop to think about it, not many animals could help very much. Not that many had hands to give. That's where the monkey came in. He had two of them, with 5 fingers moving on each. Mahu saw this right away and offered the monkeys a special deal. If all you monkeys work hard in helping me, she said, I will not put you with the rest of the animals, but I will make you a part of the human race instead. Well, that made one group of wild monkeys. Didn't they laugh? Yes, they did. And didn't they yell? Of course they did. And didn't all congratulate one another and celebrate together? They, everyone, all surely did. And clap and jump and scream for joy. They did, and they did again. No more animals for us, came the cry through the trees. Look out, people, here we come to be a part of you. A group kept calling out from between the jungle leaves.
I've been wanting to be different than me. I'll be happy to change, improve and rearrange. I'm glad for an upgrade to tea, toast and marmalade. That's great to the core. Oh, it could be much more so. I'll assume my proper place. I will join the human race. I'll be a man, yeah. I'll be a man. Wouldn't I be happy then? I would be so happy when I am a man, yeah, I am a man. I'll be taller and elite, standing on my own 2 feet as grandly as I walk. That's how smoothly I will talk. Have choices, decisions, judgments, revisions. Sing with the man the blues, watching late night news. Now I assume a proper place. I will join the human race. I'll be a man, yeah, I'll be a man. Wouldn't I be happy then? I would be so happy when I am a man, yeah, I am a man. I am a man, yeah, I am a man. I've been wanting to be different than me. I'm glad for an upgrade to tea, toast and marmalade. As grandly as I walk, that's how smoothly I will talk. What else could be better? Writing checks, faxing letters, voting in elections, changing minds and directions, bragging and complaining, losing weight and maintaining, singing rhythm and the blues, watching late night news. Now I'll assume my proper place. I will join the human race. I'll be a man, yeah, I'll be a man. Wouldn't I be happy then? I would be so happy when I am a man, yeah, I am a man. I am a man, yeah, I am a man. I am a man, look at me. I am a man, look at me. I am a man, look at me. I am a man.
In fact, they partied about so much that it simply slipped their minds to do anything else. Well, what about the work? What work? The job that Mahu wanted done. The job? The job. They forgot all about Mahu's job. Morning came, of course, and the sun popped up as it has a way of doing when night has had its turn. So with daylight, Mahu came out to walk around and inspect the work that was done by all the animals. Being animals, they all were there and working at something. Animals there were who worked a lot. Animals there were who worked as little as possible. There was an animal who was much too busy to work at all. This bunch was all in a giddy group, being extremely busy. Busy hopping, busy shouting at the top of their lungs. Every one of them busy calling out, "We are going to be men! We're going to be men!" And Mahu listened. Then Mahu looked. She shook her head and said to them all, "Monkeys you are, and monkeys you will be.
We didn't do
You will never belong to the race of men.
for no good reason.
You are just too busy being lazy to be anything but what you are. Monkeys."
We didn't do it.
Naturally, that is how it was, and how it is to this day. You and I here. The monkeys in the trees.
We didn't do it. We should have done it, but for no good reason. We didn't get down to it. We were mistaken, but now it's too late. We were hit behind by the garden gate. All of the power we anticipated. We could have had it all if we hadn't waited. We told ourselves a story, morning glory. We just want to mention that we're really sorry. We should have done the work before the parties. We celebrated first, we're not such smarties. We wish we'd have done it the other way. Think of all the fun we could have had today. What a loss. Our hearts filling up with grief. Our stupidity is way beyond belief. It seems as we gave in to what you call regression. You can bet we have learned a serious lesson. We'll make the best of living in the trees. We don't deserve this, and yet we ask if you please. Don't forget, we are almost women and men, real human persons. So let us say it again. We didn't do it. We should have done it, but for no good reason. We didn't get down to it. We didn't do 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 it.
How thunder and lightning move to the sky. The voice of Nigeria. Listen now. Nigeria speaks to fill up your wonder. Old Nigeria tells the story of thunder. Back, back in the old days, long, long before even you. Thunder stayed in town, and lightning lived there too. That meant men and women had stormy neighbors living down the road. Old Mama Sheep was thunder. Her son, Lightning, was a mean young ram. who kicked down the trees for fun there while his mama yelled with a bam, bam. That meant people there had a knocked-down, burned-up town because of the family living down the road. When lightning would kick up and burn down, Mother's thunder scolded, "Stop!" into everybody's ears. But her son burned houses, even killed sometimes. The king then evicted them. Just too much for too many years. That meant Sonny Ram and Mother Thunder could keep house in the faraway bush from now on. But the ram would still go mad and set fire to the forest and farms. So the king back then kicked them off the earth and into the clouds to do their harm. That meant the men and women could watch their neighbors' fireworks from a distance safe enough. When the Milky Way happened to the night, the voice of South Africa. Do you sometimes hear the sounds that a city makes? Do you hear it now? Kids are going at it fast this evening, playing ball, jumping rope, and running to tag a friend of theirs. Do you hear it? A mother is calling her boy to come in now. Listen. You can hear their footsteps on the sidewalk as they come running in to eat. It is a quiet feeling you have now. Put your eyes to where the sun is hiding red behind the buildings. If we wait, soon the streetlights will turn on. Over them, a black dome with stars like tiny eyes will be hanging over the neighborhood of our city. Funny thoughts float inside my head when night comes and people quiet down. If we took away the buildings, if we swept away the city, what would be left? Just we people and the wind and the sun and the stars.
I sit at my window as the town I live in settles quiet for the night, and stars peek out from heaven.
Listen hard now, and you can hear the thoughts of people in the beginning of things. Look close. And look far away to a long ago time. Listen to people telling stories of how they saw life way back then in the early land of Africa. Hear their voices if you have the ears and have the mind that can understand them. If you can, then South Africa speaks to you. Look up now, if you dare, straight past the dark trees. Look up now into the black of night. The sky of the black night has 1 billion stars which no one has counted because no one can. You see that lighted highway splashed against the white-black sky? What do you think? That white road is nothing but ashes spread wide up there. Wood ashes and nothing else. A long time ago, people had no stars at night. People then made fires on the ground to light up the dark. One night, back in that time, a dreamy girl sat burning wood and keeping warm. Her fingers played with the cool, white ashes. She smiled to see that when she tossed them up, ashes would float against the night with the flying sparks from her small blaze. More wood she heaped on the fire. She stirred it up again and again to fly more sparks into the air. And great handfuls of ashes she scooped high into the night sky. Lovely they flew, light they flew, high, high, up and up into the deep sky night.
From a long ago fire.
So at this time, you can see them in the night, that girl's fire sparks, those waves of wood ashes from that girl's hand back then, when night was black except for fires. Some call it the Starry Road. Some say the Milky Way. But we know they are a dreamy girl's sparks and wood ashes to put brightness into the night.
I sit at my window as the town I live in settles quiet for the night, and stars peek out from heaven. These bright pointers of light make me feel strong and brave. And here at my window, the big world feels safe. Now from old white ashes and cold sparks from a fire, starlight starts ascending, going higher and higher, and sea stars are making their path expand skyward to spread bright night glory like the tail of a firebird. Firebirds, firebirds, firebirds. From a long ago fire, I watch you all night, and I do not tire. I watch you all night, I watch you till dawn, my eyes upon you until you are gone, my eyes upon you when the sun's in the sky and the firebirds are resting, then so will I. Now from old white ashes and gold sparks from a fire, starlight starts ascending, going higher, and see stars are making their path expand skyward, spread bright bright night glory, like the tail of a firebird. Firebirds, I want you all night, and I do not tire. I want you all night, I want you till dawn. My eyes upon you, until you are gone. My eyes upon you. When the sun's in the sky and the firebirds are resting, then so will I. I sit at my window as the town I live in settles quiet for the night, and stars peek out from heaven.
What took place when the greedy man met a stranger? The voice of Senegal. People tell me, I have never seen it myself, but people say that once upon a time the quality of greed lived in a few men and women back in those faraway years. They say, these folks who know how it was long ago, that there was a particular man in Africa who did not care to share his belongings with strangers. To people like you and me, to persons like us living in modern times, the thought of people being greedy must sound funny. But show me patience and let me show you how the story goes, just for the fun of hearing it and just to see how people nowadays have changed from long ago. Grass houses, naturally, there were in this once upon a time, and a greedy, greedy man lived in one of them. There was no one in town who would be so foolish as to go before his door to say, "What a hot sun there is! Couldn't you just take a long, cold drink right now?" No one would even speak the words, "I beg, sir, your pardon. Could you spare a speck of bread?" No, no one. For they knew the answer from this greedy man. But one day, a stranger, with the plan in his head to fool this man who did not drink and could not eat with people looking on. At the time of day that folks in that town banged about fixing supper, this stranger happened by the doorway of the greedy man. He stopped there to wipe his feet and clear his throat. At that very second, inside the house, the wife of the greedy man had been saying, "Well, husband, I suppose you could do with some supper. Shall I bring your Toho in for you?" Of course, outside the house, feet were being scraped against the ground, and a throat made a small noise as it was cleaned. The man at his supper table did hear it all. "Quickly," said this man to his wife, "are you sick in the brain, woman? Is a fever crawling into your bones? You know better than I do that my food sits cold and uncooked." The wife, in a faraway voice, said, "Oh," and walked away. A woman gets to know what is going on in her husband's head. By now, the stranger was inside and sitting at the meal table. "Master of this house," he said, 3 days, 3 full days, and long cold nights." He stopped a time to let his words sink into the greedy man. "I am hungry." How miserable the skinflint moaned to this hungry stranger. "Oh, yes, I know what you mean. Haven't I felt the pinch in my own belly?" The man held his tummy in his 2 hands for the stranger to see his stomach ache. "Hasn't every speck of my grain crop been ruined? No, stranger, I have no food to eat myself. I am pushed to pull out roots and to cook and eat roots and herbs. I stuff my stomach with them to keep from starving." "Sorry, stranger. Come back in better times. Then you and I can feast together." "Food!" The greedy man called for his toho and began spooning it into his face as soon as the stranger was out of sight. But this was not a stranger to be easily fooled. He had hidden in the bush, and even now the man at his supper could see this stranger come walking up his path again. And this greedy one was not a man to be easily tricked either. "Quick!" he hissed to his wife. "The food! Put the toho away! Come here!" he commanded the woman. His wife came back to see her husband lying on the floor with his eyes closed. He was still talking as he lay there, giving his orders. "Be smart now. Go to the door and tell the pesty stranger that I fell down dead." "My husband has passed away, dear stranger. He has died quite suddenly." The man nudged through the house's doorway. "You poor woman," he whined, "all alone with sad misfortune, to say nothing of this heavy dead body on the floor. I must help in some way. I know. I shall dig the deep hole and put away this corpse for you. The work is much too heavy for a woman, and oh, so sad for a grieving wife." Already the stranger had hooked his fingers under the arms of the body and began dragging it out to the backyard. The other man kept his eyes closed and his body relaxed and very heavy. He waited, trying to rest, while this amazing stranger shoveled out a hole to place him in. Then he held his breath a bit and rested more while this pest covered him up with his own dirt. He could rest and wait because he was sure that his woman, his wife of many years, would work hard at taking him out of the tomb before his time. And, as you might expect, when the tricky man from the other parts did finally leave his place, the wife removed her husband from his early grave.
"It is my food, after all."
When the man stepped from his tomb, he was glad to be on top of the ground. but he was dirty. He beat himself with his open hands to brush his body clean again. Even the pouch which he carried over his stomach had become gritty. As he brushed the filth away, he spoke, "I tell you now and for all time, that miserable bum from who knows where can try 100 tricks better than this one, and he still will not taste a spoonful of my Toho. Oh, dear wife, I certainly could eat supper now. Go and heat it again for me, will you?"
Oh, glorious food.
Naturally, the man no sooner was leaning over his hot meal, bending over, breathing in its smell, than from nowhere who should pop up but the stranger. Like a flash, this man about to eat his Toho had taken it, hot sauce and all, and pours it into his pouch. This pouch, which rested near the stomach, was made of threaded seams. These seams of the pouch, they did leak very badly. So when the greedy man stared up at this foreigner, the skin of his belly was on fire with steamy Toho he was to have for supper. The traveler peered down at him, his head shaking. "First you are dead. Now you are sitting at the supper table with no supper. And most strange of all, while your body is empty, your pouch is dripping juicy Toho. You are simply a man with no food to spare. Is that it? Well, since you are new to this part of the country, let me tell you straight to your face. That way, it will save you a lot of trouble and trickery. Listen good now. No stranger, not anyone from a foreign spot. An evil genie could come begging, and he could go away hungry. None of you people will ever get a morsel to chew on out of this house.
So give up.
After such a speech, the stranger left. He traveled straight to a peculiar forest that was filled with devils. These genies, who everyone knew hated the human race and were overjoyed to murder any man passing through their woods. In no time, a gang of them circled this stranger. One of them put the sharp edge of his knife to the traveler's throat, ready to do him in. As usual, the stranger had a plan. "I came on purpose to see you. All with any brains know how much you genies deserve respect from us people, and how little we offer any kindness to you, highest of living beings." The devil held his knife a little longer. This man with smooth talk might just turn out to be worth listening to. "Love and gifts you should receive from people hereabouts, but no. Would you believe what a stingy excuse of a man in the next village had the nerve to say about you?" Every genie's eye was round and black. Every ear was red and open, for so it is when devils pay close attention. This greedy skinflint was bragging that anyone, even you powerful spirits, could walk the woods hungry if your stomachs depended on him to give his food away. The genie who held the knife stood without moving for a long time. "Really?" he finally muttered. "Go home now, stranger. Leave this man to us." Next night, poor miser, he was lying in the dark, sleeping. While he dreamed of piling extra grain in a hiding place, the genies changed into cockroaches and carried every speck of the man's millet away on their backs. Next day, the sun first woke up the penny pincher and then gave the light to show him that he had been robbed. Fast as light itself, the crying man began running to the chief to report what a terrible night had just ended. A man standing in his path, but truly this is the genie pretending to be a human, for they have these powers and more. You are running. Where do you rush? The sad, greedy one is panting. The chief, I have been robbed. My food. No. What will you do? Report it to the chief. Report? No, not nearly good enough. Demand. You must demand what you alone deserve. Demand? Put the matter straight with no two ways about it. Say to this chief of yours, find my millet. I have been robbed. Either you find my stolen food, or I will fall dead right across your doormat.
I will demand what is mine. Yes, demand what is mine.
This flustered man went directly to the chief's house in the village and followed the genie's words to the letter. The chief could only look at this unfortunate man and throw his arms to the sky. Well, so you will die if I don't find the food someone has taken from you? Right in front of your door. All that I can say is, too bad. I am sorry. I have no idea where to find your food. What could this greedy man do now but somehow try to make his terrible threat come true? Face down, he slumped into the dust before the chief's door in a fit of make-believe dying. The chief stooped to see this act, and so impressed he became that he raised his head to call out orders to the villagers. Best that some of you come with shovels. This man whose food was taken from him, this man has died of a bitter sadness. Best that we go right now to bury him. And they did, all of them. The chief, the folks of the town, and, yes, the stranger who had just then walked in. They did put down this man so deep that there was no thought whatsoever of him coming from his tomb again. Now in that land, fathers tell their boys, mothers say to their daughters. They make this story all over especially for them. For this reason, since this has happened to that greedy man, village folks over all that land will never say no to a traveling stranger looking for food.
Who's there?
It's me,
Get out.
a friend.
Go away.
Could be.
I doubt.
I want.
Can't have.
I need.
Uh-huh.
Why not?
Because.
That's greed.
So what?
Give in, give up, give up, give in, give in, give up, give up, give in, give in. Cold drink,
Be gone.
some bread,
Goodbye.
a taste.
Go now.
I said,
You're sly.
my throat
No milk.
is dry.
I'm poor.
Without
No food.
I die.
Oh, sure.
I must
Don't have
a spoon,
to part.
a cup,
You fool.
a spoon.
Get smart.
Give in, give up, give up, give in, give in, give up, give up, give in, give in. My gut,
I could.
you should
Care less.
repent,
Garbage.
be good,
Repress.
relent,
I'm bad.
be blessed.
Don't care.
God says,
Go home.
confess, you dare. Give up, give up, give in, give in, give up, give up, give in, give in. Give in,
Give up.
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 give in, give up.
Who the great mouse did marry? The voice of Ethiopia. Tell me, have you ever known people who knew exactly how wonderful they themselves were?
I love me only.
When you stop to think about it, these persons must have a hard time finding other humans smart enough and lovely enough to keep company with them who are so intelligent and grand themselves. It is hard to believe, but this kind of people is nothing new.
It's hard to be so wonderful.
Listen now to the voice of Ethiopia, who knows how it was when humans were not the only creatures with people troubles. Once in our land was born a handsome white mouse. Handsome, did I say? Lovely, said his own mouse mother. His father looked down and cleared his throat about the house. His dad said, strong, more brave and tall than any other.
Fantastica!
His mother looked down into the crib at her son and worried. Where can we ever find a wife as beautiful a creature as he?
How can it be done? He's much too wonderful.
He was not grown, of course. The family wished he would hurry. It would not be a picnic matching this exceptional mouse with an exceptional lady. The time came, as it has a way of doing, when the mouse was full grown. White was he, and bulging with muscles. He was the tallest of mice. As the custom was, 3 elders went to where God lives alone, so that they could tell him of the coming wedding and ask his advice. God opened up and asked, "What are you doing standing at the door?" "We are the people from the family of the white mouse on earth." "Most likely," they smiled up at God, "you have heard of him before. A wife is needed now, and your family naturally is the only one of worth." "What grand thinking!" God smiled as he looked down. "How true it is that the white mouse must have a wife good enough for him. Unfortunately, we here are all wrong for him. Wrong house, wrong town. The family of the wind, they are the ones who are great enough for him." "It is hard to believe," the elder said, "that the wind is higher than you." "It seems that way, doesn't it?" God said, and gave a little laugh. "But the wind is wild when it gets to blowing, and a little nasty, too. Gets dust in my eyes and makes me cry. Now that is the family you should have." "The wind?" The old folks frowned. "Where does his family live?" God smiled again and gave directions to where the wind had his house. When the place came into sight, they all giggled to think of the daughter the wind could give. Who in the world is at my door? Messengers from the fine white mouse. The wind said at first, while he gave everything some very slow thought. Yes, the wind said second. A first-rate idea, but you have come to the wrong door. When it comes to throwing dust and even pulling out trees, I am the best. But I am caught and held helpless by the mountain. He stays right where he is at while I am blowing until my throat is sore. Oh, the old mice said together, all of them looking at the ground. Tell us then, they asked, looking up again, whereabouts does the mountain stay? The mighty wind called out the way, where to turn and how to go down.
I love you already.
They arrived and soon heard his rumbling voice. What are you doing standing at my doorway? And inside they came, when the mountain waved them in and talked as people did back then. What is the news? How are the cattle coming along? The children, too? By and by, the crickety mice gradually came around to telling about the family that sent them, and the handsome white mouse, and his need for a lovely wife. Great mountain, we come to you. The mountain sat a little higher, then answered in a serious tone, quite right. A lovely creature, like your white mouse, deserves the best. It is sad to say, but that is not me. I am being eaten to the bone by creatures much, much stronger than I. Who they are, I suppose you have guessed. Who? Night and day these great hole makers dig into my bottom, make tunnels through my middle, until one day I will crumble into dirt. All three smiled to the ears and sang out all at once, "You have them, the very creatures to give a noble match to our matchless mouse and make an end to our search."
I love you already.
Where can we find the home of the ones who hold this power? The mountain showed the way. They were animals called mice, who lived down below. And a mouse answered, "What are you doing at the door at this hour?" And they spoke of the white mouse, whose beautiful wife must be particularly just so.
I love you already.
"Come in," the mouse cried out and led them to an honored seat. "How marvelous! You have found the very place with so lovely a young girl inside." So there, two exceptional families found the other as such a magical treat. The three old mice brought together, the marvelous white mouse and the girl mouse, his worthy bride. So never fear, this is the way it comes to be. Beauty meets lovely most exceptionally.
Couldn't see the forest, it was too full of trees. I couldn't find the honey, it was hidden by the bees. Fog was all around me, I I couldn't see my hands. The tide just washed away my footprints from the sand. And I tried to climb the hill, but they were so very steep. Lonely was the secret I didn't want to keep. And then I found you there, right under my nose, in the middle of the thorn bush, a perfect rose. And I love you already. I wanna sing and dance. Life's a celebration when you finally find romance. The leaves are applauding, bees are buzzing a song. The fog has disappeared, and the tide just rolls along. Yes, the tide just rolls along. And I love you already. Yes, I love